touch my setup. It's once it's okay. Don't ever touch the knobs again.
Don't touch it. Don't even breathe on it.
Hello and welcome to the How to Hobby podcast. This is episode 57. My name is John Power. I'm your host, joined by my fearless co-host, Sean Bennett. And tonight we are starting off a new series, which is always fun to do. It's going to be our building block series where we're walking you through things that they mean a lot and they matter in life. So we're going to be building you up from start to finish. It's what we do here on the How to Hobby podcast, bringing you value every step of the way. And tonight is no different. We're going to be walking you through the proper building blocks to an amazing work-life balance. And Sean and I will be talking you through some of the things we've done to preserve our work-life balance. It is a balance, and it's something that's very important as you depending on what stage of life you're in, maybe your early career, maybe your late career, it's very important to understand how to get your arms around this thing and think about it, be mindful about it. And so tonight we want to walk you through some of the things we've done well, some of the things we've done not so well, and give you our keys to success that we've developed up to this time. And again, we just want to thank you for tuning in tonight. And Sean, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. As always, looking good.
Thank you. I'm feeling good, looking good, feeling good. Just got my haircut today. That always makes me feel like really good.
Like $1 million.
Like $1 million. And I just have the tiny hairs all over me. They're kind of itchy, but I feel like I look good. So I feel good. Yeah, I'm doing good this week. I just got back from a trip to see family up in Central California. Had a amazing trip out there, stayed in a nice Airbnb and got to hang out with kids. I spent the whole weekend babysitting essentially. We had 31 adults and I think 9 or 10 kids ranging from 11 months to 9 years. So it was an interesting weekend of holding babies. Kate got one of the babies threw up on her. So it was good. It was a well-rounded trip.
Wait. Is this like a spit up or an actual throw up?
Spit up. Sorry. This
is
spit up.
Okay.
Yeah, just spit up. But it got all over her jacket and her pants. And it was right as we were leaving. She was handing the baby back. And it just all over her.
Oh, no. Yeah. That's not good. Yeah. No, you don't need that.
No, it was bad. So luckily it didn't smell or anything. It was just a hilarious timing of as she's getting rid of the kid, it just spits up on her.
See, that's the good thing about kids, man. Is like, honestly, nothing is really that bad. If we're being real, like parents, you'll agree with me. Young adults that don't have kids yet, you probably don't know. But kids are they are so cleanly. I mean, it's like nothing really, they come out of the womb and they are it's about as perfect as you can be outside of heaven. I mean, this is unreal. And it just blew me away. And that baby smell, if I could just bottle that, I need. And now my kids, they're getting older. My daughter is 4 now, and I don't even know what to do, Sean. This is crazy.
Are you guys gonna have another, or have you decided to stick with the 2?
I don't know right now.
Okay.
It's a good question. I'm gonna ask we'll have my wife on later this year, and we'll ask her this poignantly on the episode. I don't know. I'm open to it, but we'll see what happens.
That's a good way to think about it. Good way to think about it. Kind of just it is what it is. I think that's a good way of going about life.
Yeah.
Well, you've also got 2 great kids, so you guys are clearly doing something right.
We're very blessed. There's no doubt about it. 2 is great. I mean, 2 is a good number. And we got the boy-girl starter pack, so I feel really blessed in that side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm from a big family, so I'm not opposed to having more fun because that's really what at the end of it's tough now, but then at the end of the day, it's more fun. So like later on in life, I mean, when you have The big, you don't even need people over. You just say, all right, come on, kids, we're all getting together.
We'll do all doing a family hullabaloo. That was the crazy part because Kate's cousin side of the family is so big that it was like when you do an Easter party, it was like 40 people all packed into this house, which was it was chaos in the moment, but looking back, it was kind of fun. Especially getting to hold babies for the whole weekend, and I mean, getting to just visit family and see a new town, stay in a new place. We went to a Cracker Barrel. Did you know they have
Oh,
Cracker Barrels in California? Because I didn't know
yes.
this. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
always thought they were a Midwest thing. That's the only place I'd ever gone to was Arkansas or Oklahoma or Kansas. So when we were looking for breakfast places yesterday before driving back, and just passed upon a Cracker Barrel, I was like, oh, we're going.
Wait, what? I'm surprised you didn't know, but
Yeah,
yes. Oh
yeah,
my goodness. And I
didn't
have
know.
not been in a long time, but Allie has yet to go. And that is on my list to get her into a Cracker Barrel. What'd you end up getting?
I went with the Mama's special, which was 3 pancakes, which were some of the best pancakes I've ever had. They tasted like funnel cakes. They didn't taste like standard pancakes. It was kind of wild.
Huh.
And then just some sausage, grit. I got a side of grits. I love grits,
You
and then just
gotta go sausage.
some eggs. Kate did it was basically eggs, sausage, and biscuits was hers. And I mean, all the food was delicious. And for to-go breakfast spots, Cracker Barrel is one of the few that doesn't mess my stomach up. I'm always so scared, especially on a road trip, to eat out. Like Denny's messes my stomach up, but Cracker Barrel, I had nothing. Made it the whole way home. Never had any problems. It was great.
Denny's Denny's is no joke.
No,
There's a you better be ready when you end up going to Denny's. It's an experience these days.
it is.
But anyway, well, I'm glad you were able to stop it. I mean, that is like the OG, man, Cracker Barrel. Crazy. They have one in Yuma.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so we pass it every time. And like, we need to stop, but I just don't like stopping on the way to San Diego. It's just it's
Yeah,
too quick. You just
yeah. You just
gotta
want to get there.
make it happen. So, well, this is great. I'm glad you made it back safe. I mean, sounds like you're doing big things, and keep up the fun excitement. I'm excited. My wife and daughter are out of town this weekend, so it's me and the young son having some father son time, and it's gonna be fun. Hopefully, we can get some camping in and figure out if it's possible to camp in the desert in the early summer days. We'll find out. Stay tuned, listeners, and happy Easter to everyone out there. This is coming out the week after Easter, so hopefully it was a good time. So tonight we have what we have, which is our building block series. It's a new layout we're going to be working through, similar to our tools, but it's a new direction. And before we get into that, we're going to dive into everybody's favorite topics on the evening, Sean's especially, which is how you can get in touch with us if you want to let us know how we did today on the podcast. So first and foremost, wherever you're digesting this content, if you wouldn't mind ringing that bell, subscribing, following, giving us a 5-star review, we'd really appreciate it. Keeps the lights on in the HQ here at the platform How to Hobby. We do have a Gmail account that you can reach out to us directly with any feedback regarding what you're hearing. howtohobbypodcast@gmail.com is the emailed address there, right to Sean's Neuralink, which is great. He's on the beta program for it. And we do have a website as well, and that's howtohobbypodcast.com. And all your favorite social media, Instagram, Twitter, that's at howtohobbypodcast. Make sure to follow us, stay up to date. We've got plenty of plans for the website, from blog posts to actual gear lists and trip lists. And that's going to be something we're going to continue to dive into and build out our platform there. So without further ado, Sean, we're going to dive into tonight's main event, which is the building blocks for a proper work-life balance. Sean, you've been thinking about this a lot. You were kind of
Yep.
talking about it prior to the show. There's a reason for that. Sounds like you're ready to get back into the, you've taken a little bit of time off,
Yep.
refresh, and you're ready. You're ready to get
Yep.
back into the workflow.
I'm calling this my soul searching phase. I just had an interview today. I'm hoping to hear from them by the end of the week. But yeah, this has been a big thing on the front of my mind, because especially coming from such a toxic work and life balance at my last job, then taking time off and having life balance and not having work, and then now looking at going back to work, this is something that is really, really important to me, and is just glaringly obvious. I need to do a better job going into this next role compared to what I did with my last one. And I'm curious to hear some of your successes and failures and lessons learned that you have with work-life balance. And I'm excited to talk about mine. I mean, this is something that is incredibly important, because unless any of our listeners out there are less than, I'll say, 16, you probably have some sort of work that you're doing, part-time, full-time, whatever it is. It's life. It just is what it is. We have to work. And
We like to work.
we like to
We
work.
do like to work, listeners.
We do.
It's part of our call.
Yep, it is, especially if you find
The
something
right work.
correct, the right work. The right work is what I was trying to say. But yeah, I mean, work is inherent. It's going to happen no matter what. And so you have to find ways to fit life in. And sometimes work-life balance can feel like a buzzword. People are just using it like, oh, just get some work-life balance. Like it's really that easy. So we're going to really break down some of our key tips here and really help everyone focus on shifting life to be more of a forefront than just work.
That's right. And I think, as much as this sounds simple, this is probably one of the more complex things we have to determine as adults. I mean, you just don't have the same, because we're always changing, we're always growing. You don't have the same mindset as you do when you're 16. You are going to change, younger listeners out there. And I think our target demographic at this point is somewhere between early professional and later professional in life. So you probably have already been through a lot of these stages. But you can say with us that you're not the same person you were when you first started working. And that is because you've probably taken on more responsibility, more financial burdens in various forms, whether it be a heavy car payment, home loan, school loans. I mean, there's just so many things that we can incur as we move into our professional lives, versus when I first had my skating rink job as a 15-year-old.
Yep.
And I'm putzing around making $6.50 an hour. And I probably started lower than that, to be honest. So tonight we're going to walk through, first and foremost, our keys to success that we've determined after getting to be where we are. Sean has a great perspective because he has said no. He actually recognized that he was in a toxic work environment and prioritized his own personal life. And now he's seeing great benefits. Last week he shared he's down on the scale, which is a huge, I mean, just wow. I'm blown away by your progress. I see it on Strava. So I do want to keep building you up in that. And I think it's really impressive that you've done all the things you've done coming out of that toxic environment. And what we've shared throughout the show, I think we've shared, you've been very intimate and open about some of the things that have happened and where you've gone with this. So it's been really cool. So our keys to success tonight, we have 4 of them. My major key to success has been making and maintaining life goals. So outside of work, I am not just work for me is digested most easily when I know that I have things that I'm looking forward to outside of work. Now, I do look forward to work. Don't get me wrong, listeners, but I think that when I start to open my mind and think about the contentment that I have just living out in the world and being able to exist in the world, I then am able to better suit and work, be prepared for work, because work is not the end all be all for me. And that's just the bottom line. I don't prioritize it as my number one. It's very high on the list because it needs to be out of necessity. I need to provide for my family. But the key there is I have a family and there's other priorities in my life. My second key that I've developed has been very important for myself, and I continue to try every year to dial it in better. And that is my proper, by implementing proper nutritional habits. And when I say nutrition in this context, I'm actually talking about two things. I'm talking about the body, what I'm ingesting in my body, but I'm also talking about my spirit. So how am I readying myself every single day to get into the intensity of work? Because there is a total spool up. You can't just start the engine up without giving yourself a nice, if you're going to be peaking at the RPMs at 9,000, you got to start at zero somehow. So I try and spool myself up in a way that I've developed over time, and I'll get into this more later, that leaves me with enough energy to get through not just my work day, but also my day as a father and a husband, and leaving a little bit of extra time for myself. So going to lunch and having the cheeseburger every day is not going to get me the results that I need to finish out my day as a working professional and husband. So that's kind of, I hope, does that kind of make sense to you, Sean, that it's not just about the food we ingest. It is, but it's also about how I'm prepping my mind and body and spirit to undertake the journey of each day, because you get hit with a lot especially in our line of work, listeners. I mean, maybe some of you don't have, you're going, what in the world is this guy talking about? It sounds like he's like going into battle. And to be completely honest with you, that is how it feels a lot of the time. I am going into battle when I go to work. I'm about to get hit with a lot.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And I agree. And this is something that I see looking back on my last role, where it was a toxic place, toxic role, toxic everything, is that we got lunch brought to the office, catered to the office every day. And it was generally very, very unhealthy style meals, burgers, tacos, a lot of grease, a lot of salt, just crazy unhealthy. And then I had access to a full kitchen with chips and M&Ms and Hershey's bars and coffee and hot chocolate. And I found that, looking back, just the negative aspects that all of that food had on my stress levels, that I was then carrying through the entire day and then bringing home as well, and then feeling bad about the fact that I had a Hershey's bar when I didn't need it, and then that would take my time away from being with my family at night. And it was bad. Spirit I think also comes with, there's a line where, if you're lucky enough to be in a line of work that is fulfilling to your spirit, I think that's great. I think the vast majority of people, that's not the case. It's not the case, right? So it can sometimes even be degrading on the spirit sometimes, depending on the day. So taking the time outside of work to re-up that, super, super critical. And that plays into my favorite thing that I have to do all the time, is when you're trying to do work-life balance, you have to use intentionality to the nth degree, because it is so easy, taken from someone who learned the hard way. It is so easy to just fall into the rut of just letting things happen and not making intentional and taking the self-discipline to actually get yourself out of that rut. You have to be intentional with your work-life balance, and specifically the life portion, because work will be intentional for you, but once you leave work, setting those boundaries and having the life outside is incredibly important. And that really plays into my last key here. It's not impossible to do it alone, but it's incredibly important that in your life outside of work, specifically outside of work, you really need to work on committing to your relationships and your friendships
Yep.
because it's super, super critical. You can have friends at work. Don't get me wrong. You can have friends at work, but it is incredibly important
Hopefully
to
you
have.
do, because
Hopefully, you do.
that's
It
another
makes,
key to,
yeah.
getting you through the day. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, 100%. But it's also key to have relationships and friendships that are not tied to your work. They're not tied to the same maybe drama that you had to deal with or the
Yeah.
same boss or whatever. You need to have someone that's set aside. And so you have to commit to your friendships. And I say relationships because it could be friends, it could be family, it could be significant other, but whatever it is, you have to commit and say, look, I am going to do the work. I'm putting the work in to not only sustain this friendship, but make it better. If you don't commit to that, it's going to be very hard to have that successful, fulfilling life balance of the work life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, this is one of the things that keeps me grounded, is
Mhm.
having other commitments. And that's the commit is the word there, really. I mean, other commitments outside of work that keep you from going too far down the rabbit hole. I think it does two things, Sean. I think
Yep.
it makes you more intentional at work. So it really hones you in on your first key there, which is intentionality. Here means that we're being intentional at work, and then we're being intentional outside of work, instead
Mhm.
of just being unintentional at everything,
Yeah.
which is not good.
No, not a good way to live life.
Because yeah, you're doing what, 10-12 hour days, but you're sitting there eating Hershey's bars all day and not feeling great.
Yep.
Again, I'm using this as a very stark. You're not doing that, listeners. People that listen to the show, Sean, they know what they're doing at work.
Good.
But
Good. If you
good
don't work on it.
if you don't work on it, because yeah, intentionality is the key there, in work and outside. So let's dive into our current favorite tools that we're using to build in this area. Again,
Yep.
these are the tools we're using to really build the foundation, hammer it home. And if you can't see me, listeners, but I am taking out the tools and I'm building away here. These blocks are getting bigger. So for me, the first thing that has really helped me maintain a good balance, and my current favorite tool, is going into the office.
Yep.
In this post-COVID world where there's a great temptation to work at home, it for me has been an absolute a great benefit to go into the office. Now I could talk at length, and if you ever want to just chat, hey, email me and we can talk about why I think this is great. But there are so many benefits to going into the office. One, I'm intentionally making a journey. So I'm already doing something that separates work from life, which again, I think the separation here is what I'm going for. I
Yep.
don't want
Yep.
there's an old saying, you don't poop where you eat. And you can put in other words there for the poop part. Um, I think when you bring your work home, especially if you work in a very stress-filled job with a lot of deadlines and things that are going to stress you out, which, I mean, again, if you're being intentional, you're going to feel a little bit of stress. Since it's not bad to feel a little bit of stress, it's important that you recognize that, and then you understand, okay, so what is that action I need to then complete to get myself de-stressed? What do I need to work intentionally to do to bring down the stress level? Little building, but taking little snips out of the block, building up the kingdom, one block at a time, up to the parapet of having your task complete. And in engineering, it takes, these tasks that we get assigned can take a very long time,
Yep.
because you're talking about specifications and documentation to back up every decision you're making. And it is a long process. So you can't just look at it and say, oh, it's going to be done tomorrow. Some tasks work that way, some don't. And so, yeah, going into the office for me has been a huge part. And I think it separates the negativity that I could feel from my house. And for me, that's my current favorite tool,
Yep.
because I don't want to bring, Sean expressed that earlier. He felt like it was impacting others. And I try very hard to not let my work impact my significant others and my time, which I try and keep as sacred, which is my morning and my evening.
Mm-hmm.
You get a morning and you get an evening before you get to go into work. Keep them sacred.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree. I liked that we had the flexibility to work from home. I know, you and I were working together and we were able to work from home when COVID first hit, but I saw the negative impacts that it had on every single day working from home and not setting those boundaries for yourself, and how easy it was to work longer than you should, or on, allowing the stress to carry over, especially like you're working together at home with your significant other and you're like, oh, I just had a stressful meeting and now I'm just going to kind of take it out on my partner, which is just such a negative spiral to get yourself in. And I wholeheartedly agree. I think hybrid work is cool if you have access a couple days a week, sick. But going into the office is just so crucial. And if you're not going to go into the office, do something like set up a workspace away from everything else if you have the ability. My workspace is in my room, so I don't have a choice there, but I would go for walks in the morning to mimic my commute time. Usually had about a 15 to 20-minute commute time at the company we were at. I would do, if I could, about a 10 to 15-minute walk in the morning and get my mind into work mode, be in work all day, go for another walk after work, get my mind out of work mode, shift into home mode. And that's super critical to have that balance, because I saw what happens when I was bringing all of that stress home. And Kate looked at me and said, look, you're being a space cadet, you're not here, I'm having a conversation with you and you're not here, you're thinking about work, I'm gonna go home. I don't really want to be around you while you're like this. And that was a rude awakening when I got that conversation of like, oh, you're doing a bad job at taking your work home. And I needed to implement. It was right around the time I actually ended up quitting because of the impact it was having. But
Wow.
yeah. Go into the
No,
office if you can.
that's great. Great point, Sean. I think you're hitting on something very important there, which I also, as a just an additional add-on, is try and do some physical activity
Yep.
before going, because I think driving and getting in the car and getting stressed in the car and commuting and then going right into stress environment at the workplace. Listeners, I talk at length about being a commuter. I'm an active commuter, and the benefits are I have a scroll that I hang up, and it's at this point a mile long. So again, I can talk at length about it. I'm not going to, but separating yourself from the stressed environments, doing some physical activity to get your mind right, your mind and spirit right before going into the battle zone. It's super important. So
Yep.
yeah, that's my first favorite tool right now. And actually I have another one, Sean, which
Go
was
for it.
for the tail end. I had mentioned morning and evening. I have two times to have outside of work. And my morning quiet time, for me, is very important. And that's a time where I get up, and I'm I kind of have it built into my routine where I make my lunch the night before. And so the only thing I have to do in the morning is get up, have some water, sit down, read, and I read my Bible, and then have some meditation and prayer time. And that is kind of like my I get my headspace right. And I really try and think about the things, whether you're a believer or not, listeners. I think you can mimic this routine, because just taking the time to think about what you have and how blessed you are to be alive and to be content about having a home, having food, and knowing that you're about to go into a day that can make a huge difference. And I have
Yep.
seen huge benefit from that. And so yeah, I try and do that every morning before work. Some days it doesn't work because that's life, but to the best of my ability, I work that in unless I oversleep. But
Feel it.
So those are my two tools.
Yeah, mine is actually the opposite end of the day. When I look at my current favorite,
Oh.
is I like to focus on the night. So I don't generally
Oh.
do like a morning quiet time like you do. I focus on having a solid nightly routine. And this is for a few different reasons. Most important, guarantees I get a good night's sleep. That's priority number one for me in life in general is good night's sleep. But the key for me for work-life balance of having a solid nightly routine is it's a way to bookend my day. No matter how stressful of a day or non-stressful, or whether I have a meeting tomorrow or my project is late or whatever it is, it's so easy to let that stress carry through into your evening and then right before you go to bed, and you'll find yourself panicking, trying to lay there, trying to go to sleep. I got to get 8 hours of sleep. Oh God, I have a meeting at 10 o'clock. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I'm super nervous. It happens to me all the time when I'm working. And so I implement a solid nightly routine. And I'm going to tell you what mine is. I think everyone just stick to something. I like to read a book because it forces me to get out of my own head and into something, whether it's a fictional
Yeah.
book, a non-fictional book, whatever it is. It forces me to break the line of the workday and go, I'm going to focus on something else for, I usually do about 30 minutes. And then it's usually right before like I take my medicine and go to bed. Um, so that's my routine. You guys can do whatever. I know you like to do
You can
jump
do
rope. You
whatever.
can do it. I mean, honestly, that you
Do
can.
whatever.
I know like John, you like to do jump rope.
I do.
Get some fresh air. I know some people do walks. Some people will watch TV. They'll listen to music, whatever it is. Just pick something and stick to it. And that's again the intentionality here. You have to maintain a schedule. And if you start getting loosey goosey, letting that fly over the place,
Yeah.
you'll start losing that discipline that you have for your day. So, my first recommendation, solid nightly routine. Mine is about 45 minutes. I brush my teeth, I read a book for about a half hour, and then I go to sleep. That's my routine. Bookends my day, lets me start the next day feeling good, feeling great. I got some reading time in, which I think is super critical to just life. I think everyone
Yeah.
should be reading.
Oh yeah.
Um, and so that's mine.
I I can't agree more. I think having the ability to read and again refresh, I think there's a refreshing aspect to when you try and inundate yourself with something other than just letting your mind wander. I think when anxiety takes hold and stress takes hold, all you think about is the thing producing the anxiety.
Yep.
But when one of the ways that, yeah, I think does refresh us is by forcing your brain to think about something else by ingesting other content, whether it,
Yep.
I think reading is top tier, but yeah, you can get a similar factor um, out of watching a show. So, and maybe do both. I mean, me and my wife
Yeah.
typically will do a mix. So, yeah, I like it, Sean. I think whether you choose the morning or the evening or both, I mean, it's important to refresh yourself and get ready no matter what and not find yourself in a slump. I think what we're trying to go for here, listeners, is don't find yourself in a slump.
Yep.
And Sean, I think, at this point, we should share some of the ways that we've probably failed through our career if we're willing to. Starting out, both been in the industry now for 5 years. What are some of the ways that we've found ourselves not doing so great with the work-life balance, and maybe an additional way to not make that happen or relate it back to our current favorite tools?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk for days on my last position, but I won't continue dogging on them. I'm actually going to go back to our Agilist days. And this was big when we were on the modeling job that we were doing right before we both left. And I was the team lead. I was the face of Agilist to the customer. And we had weekly Tuesday meetings with the client. And it would almost always ruin my Monday nights because I would always stress about it. And I would end up taking that stress out on Kate or whoever I happen to be around and just constantly talking about, oh, I have this to do tomorrow. Oh, this guy is dropping the ball. Oh, the spreadsheet's not
Sean
working.
is just not getting
John's
his
just
work
awful.
done.
I would end up doing the classic mistake of talking about work too much at home and not creating that separation. And this goes to kind of what we've talked about. Going into the office would have helped because I would have that separation, but we were working from home at this time. But I also wasn't recognizing what it was doing to the people around me. And that one, they were getting tired of listening to me complain all the time. And two, it was putting unnecessary stress on them because now I'm sharing my stress load. And I think that's why I was doing is I wanted someone to share that load so I didn't have to carry it all by myself. But it was unhealthy and it just made Monday nights suck. Tuesdays were awful. Uh, and so I ended up recognizing and moving into whatever job, crossing my fingers, I ended up getting moving forward. I'm going to do a better job at separating work. And I don't want to not talk about it. I don't want to like make it a clean break. I still want to be able to talk about the goods and the bads, but they don't want to make it everything I'm focusing on. Every time there's a lull in the TV or it goes commercial or whatever, oh, I got to do this thing tomorrow. Just being conscious. And this is something I also saw growing up with my dad. For the longest time, I never thought he almost never had anything positive to say about work. No matter what company he was at, his first thing he would do is he would come home and complain about his day. And so it was always like, oh, he's home. Because it was so much
Mm,
negativity tied with it. And it would be the
mm.
first thing he'd say, and he'd only talk about all the negatives. And then you go back and you're like, okay, why are you still there? And he's like, oh, yeah, I love it there. And it was a very confused mixed signal thing going on because to the friends and family you're like all you do is complain and then they're like yeah I love working there. So creating more of that break is what I'm going to be doing moving forward.
Ah, I love that, Sean. I think it's great to recognize these things where we haven't been outstanding. And I think so. This actually brings me to my current tool belt objective. I want to be okay to say no. And I want to continue to work on this because I feel like where I'm at, it's very important. And I've done well in certain situations and I've done poor in certain situations. And most of the time it comes down to if you're a high performing worker, which we want you to be high performers here on the how to hobby listener base.
Yep.
The idea behind interacting with our hobbies well and talking about these things is so that we are higher performers and we're marked as such. You are marked as a higher performer among your peers. And with that, though, comes a want to put more, more and more responsibility on you. And you will be worked until you either say no or you break. And that's just the
Yep.
reality. I mean, I'm not pulling any punches tonight, listeners. The reality is your work is not going to care as much as they say that the goal is for you to not burn out. They're not worried about if you're performing, then they don't great. Keep putting work on them. Now, again, maybe you work in a great place where if you burned out and you just said, I can't, I got, and it's like, but in my mind, Sean, if you're already at that point, like at the burnout point, it's not good.
No.
Like it's not on your company to really look after your well-being necessarily. And that's the other thing that I'm not going to pull any punches on. This is not your mommy and daddy. They don't
Yep.
care about your well-being. It is a straight transaction. It's we talked about it last week at length. Negotiation tools. This is a negotiation ongoing. What are you going to give and what are they going to give you? The minute any of those encroaches outside the bounds of a healthy relationship, you got to start asking questions and being okay to say no, which is my current tool belt. And I'm working on it because being somebody who feels like from time to time, there has been more opportunity that's come my way. It is good, but it's also very important as such to think and not just speak right away.
Yep.
And I have been guilty of just kind of getting too excited about all the different opportunities you could pursue. And a really great engineer said, as you get more into your career, like when you start off, you're kind of like a shotgun blast, and there's a lot of spread. The spread is very wide, and you want to cover a lot. But as you kind of grow and get into your niche, you want to tailor that more to like a buckshot spread and be more precise. And additionally, and finally, make it to more like a high caliber round that's going right for the jugular. You want to be well honed in and not miss as we move into our future. So that's where I'm currently at. And I think I definitely, when I look back at, those days at Agilus, and I've been too, I like bouncing around, and I think, I could be a little bit more poignant and say no and really communicate more intentionally. So that's where I think I can grow, and I'm looking to do that, continue doing that this year. So
Yeah, I think that's a great, great goal to have, and something that I won't say all engineers, but I have seen a vast majority of engineers that I've worked with also struggle with the inability to say no, because we feel like if we say no to something, we're missing out on a chance to learn new something or be involved or learn a new skill or do something cool or fun. I even talked about that in my interview today, and they asked me, because I said I'm going through my soul searching phase right now. And the guy goes, "Well, I want to hear more about this." And I talked about, I was in such severe burnout because I was saying no. I was saying yes to everything. Every job that they asked if I was willing to do, I'd say yes to, even though I was sitting there going, what the hell am I doing? I can't handle my current workload. But if I say no, it's going to look bad, or I'm going to miss out on a new skill that I could gain. And I said yes to everything. And it burned out. I burned out. It burned me out. And so I also agree. Being okay to say no is something that's incredibly important. My current tool belt objective actually plays well into my last favorite tool. Um, I grew up in a family that our coping mechanism for a stressful day was watching TV. It was what
mm,
my parents did and still do. I grew up being addicted to the television. I mean, it was specifically crime dramas because that's what we watched, but everything from
oh,
CSI, NCIS to Law and Order, Hawaii Five O. I mean, every crime drama that's almost exists, every single one of the Chicago series. I grew up watching TV. That was our nightly routine. We would eat dinner and then we'd go sit in the living room and we'd watch TV. Um, and I have carried that habit through to my adulthood. And I find it too easy to get wrapped up in a Hulu or a Netflix or a Prime Video or a Discovery Plus hole where suddenly it's 4 hours later and all I've done is watch a movie. And you're like, oh my God, I could have done so many more productive things. And it's good sometimes to relax, but not when it's every day. And I have been struggling with this for years. Even since college, I struggled with my want to just sit and watch TV. And it has been easier lately. And this goes into something that I've implemented and I'm considering my current favorite is with so much rain that we've been having in San Diego, which is very abnormal for Southern California. And it even goes farther back when you're looking before the rain, when you have this uh time zone change, or the oh, what's it called, where we jump an hour.
spring
uh
forward.
yeah, spring forward, when we do the daylight savings.
Oh, yeah.
The days end so early before it kicks in, and it gets dark so quick that it's very easy to say, oh, it's raining, it's cold, it's dark, I want to go hiking. I might as well just not do that, and I'll stay inside and watch TV. And it's too easy to convince yourself of, especially when it comes to you've been at work all day and you just want to relax. Oh, well, the one thing I want to do, my big hobby right now is riding my bike, but it's horrible weather outside. Oh, well, I guess I don't get to do my hobby today. I'm just going to go do something else. Um, that's not as helpful. I find that you need to have, and this is my opinion, everyone should have a minimum of two hobbies, one that is specifically geared towards the outside and one that is specifically geared towards the inside, because this gives you fantastic flexibility of, if it's a beautiful sunny day like it was today in San Diego, I want to get outside. I want to hike. I want to ride a bike. I want to do whatever it is. If it's hot, like I know it was where you are, if it's hot, or if it's rainy, or it's cold, or it's getting dark, I'm working till 5:30. Sunsets at 5:15. It's dark by the time I get home. I still have to cook dinner, change the kids, whatever it is. It's 8 o'clock. I don't want to go out and
You're,
ride a bike. You have something.
I feel the strain pulling at my
Yep,
at
yep.
my inner being as you speak these things.
Having an inside hobby, still something that gets you away, whether it's gaming, reading,
Love
uh,
it.
uh,
Gaming.
gaming. I mean,
Let's
gaming's an
go.
easy one.
Let's just get just game.
Taking online classes, like whatever your thing
LinkedIn
is.
Learning.
LinkedIn Learning. Have the two separate hobbies specifically geared for the two different scenarios, and that will make it way harder for you to make up an excuse. Because if you say, "Oh, I can't ride my bike because it's raining out," that's easy to say. "Oh, I can't ride my bike because it's raining out." "Oh, but I still have this." "All right, I'm going to do that because I know that will fulfill me." Having an inside and an outside hobby at a base minimum. I mean, John and I are addicted to hobbies, so we're on the crazy end of the spectrum, but like
We're maniacs.
maniacs. But at a minimum, two different hobbies. And even could be like a morning versus an evening hobby, right? Like let's say you get off work, your evening hobby, and then on the weekends, you can get up early, get out, go for a morning mountain run, whatever it is, something you couldn't have done during the week because you were working. Having that juxtaposition of the two will make everything feel way more balanced, I think.
Balanced. And you know what, listeners, when you start to build in this framework for you start to build up the quiver and establish the building blocks that we're talking about here for hobbies, because all of this is just building up to the 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 forefront of a great life. I mean, really, you're just building your framework. And what I find in my own personal life, I'll just share, is now that I've been doing these things for so long, I just get a kick. Like I'll just tell you, Sean, if I drive to work, it feels weird.
Yeah.
Feels weird. Like I legitimately do not want to drive to work. Do not, like, my body is like, wait, what? Like I need to be on the bike, even if it's raining. My game to myself is literally like, if it's rain in the forecast, I will be checking the minute by minute. And so see if I can sneak it in. And it is like my sick, maniacal game to myself to, even when it's raining, get to work on the bike and get home.
Wow.
That is like the level at which I'm looking at this and just being like, what do you mean? Why does it matter? It's so I get a little wet, like bring clothes. I have a waterproof bag. So yeah, I mean, really, at the end of the day, listeners, that's going to take a while. I've been building the blocks for a long time, 5 years of commuting to get to that level. But that does not mean that you can't do the same in what Sean's suggesting here, having a morning or an evening hobby, or maybe in a hobby you do to get to work. And I guarantee you that you'll see impact. You'll see changes in the way that you're thinking about said activity, and you'll grow, because it's a compounding effect, and that's all there is to it. So start small and be patient, and you will build up to something great. And that's all I have to say, Sean.
Fantastic way to wrap all of that in a bow. I 100% agree. I'm going to go ahead and jump into my all-time favorite tool, if that's okay with you.
Oh, hit it.
Okay, let's hit
it.
I'm going to get kind of...
As long as it's gaming.
I'm sorry, it's not. I'm going to get kind of philosophical here for a second. As all the listeners can probably tell you, this is kind of something I do almost on the reg. We talked about in the keys to success how important it is to commit to your relationships with your friends and your family outside of work. Very important for the work-life balance. Specifically for work-life balance, but also just life in general. I think that as important, if not more important, is to commit to the relationship with yourself.
Whoa.
I think I know. I think that something that a lot of people don't do, and I see this with some of my family, is they're so uncomfortable with themselves that they struggle to
Mm,
do alone time. You
mm.
could call it quiet time, whatever it might be. Um, I have always been someone who is a fan of doing things by myself. It's just who I was growing up. I just really like experiencing things by myself. I mean, obviously, I love being with friends and family, but I also do love doing things by myself. I sometimes will do solo date nights where I'll just take myself out to a nice dinner. I'll bring a book, I'll bring some headphones, whatever it is. I love doing it. I love going to a restaurant and
Wow.
saying table for one. It just feels so good because
I
you
love it.
you sometimes get the cool tables, or it's easier to sit at a bar or whatever. I love going out for solo date nights. I think that when it comes to having a successful work-life balance, you have to set time aside for yourself. And I cannot imagine what it's like being a parent as well and trying to fit this in. So it's got to be hard. But coming from someone who
It's
doesn't have
it's
kids,
just impossible. Just don't even try it, listeners.
don't
No,
even
I'm
try.
kidding.
It's having that time for yourself, whether it is your nightly routine, it is your a walk, a listen, a podcast, whatever it is. And this is also possible to do if you have a significant other. Like for me, Kate doesn't like to read; she likes to watch TV. At night, I don't really want to watch TV. I want to decompress, so she can watch TV, and I can either go in the room or we can sit there. She can put in headphones, and I can read a book. You have to focus on building and maintaining a relationship with you and yourself so that you are happy, because it doesn't
Mm,
matter what's happening at work, it doesn't matter what's happening in your personal life, it doesn't matter what's happening with friends or family. If you aren't happy with yourself, you're not going to be able to balance the rest of it successfully. So take the time, focus on yourself, whether that is going to a therapist, whether it is doing your own private thing. I do solo date nights, whatever it is. I have no name for it. Solo date night, alone creative time,
I want to
whatever
do
it
this.
is.
I need to. I,
Dude, it is so much fun.
no, no, I am right there with you because honestly, when the moment coming from the dad perspective, when I get away by myself and I know that I can just do something specifically, I think spend your own money on
Hmm.
yourself. Like it sounds silly, but the thing is, like as a dad, I don't like all of my money goes to my family. Like
Yep.
I mean, realistically, it's like the money I'm bringing in is just going right to all the things that you pay for as an adult and the family so that they can keep doing whatever they do while I'm at work. But like, I don't get to really enjoy. Yeah, I save up. I have a want list. I mean, we talked about our financial building blocks. I'm sure we'll talk more in the future.
Yep.
But I think there's something here, Sean. I mean, there's like a joy that I know I've experienced of just being like, oh, you know what? Like I actually I'll bring up an exact time frame when Allie was in a wedding. And most people, I'm with you. Like most people are not comfortable going and being alone, especially at a wedding, because she was in the wedding party. That was the key.
Hmm.
So she was in the wedding party and I was alone because I didn't know anybody. Like
Yep.
I knew some of her friends, but
I,
they were all
I've
in the wedding party.
I've been in the exact same situation. Kate was in a wedding party, and I would knew nobody there.
And it was unreal. Like it was up in Santa Rosa. And so I dropped her out off in the morning because she had to get ready for the wedding. And I just took like the day by myself.
Hmm.
And it was just, I haven't had many. Now I get like little tastes, right? Where it's like, I just get on the bike and I'll ride and I'm very protective of that time on the weekend and me and Allie both give it to each other where we take
Hmm.
time. She can be by herself and I can be by myself because we know how important it is. But man, that is still something I think of like, that was such sweet time. Like I went to Russian River Brewing, which I'm a big beer fan. So I got like the taster flight. I talked to people at the bar. Like I met some
Hmm.
guy. It was just like the perfect day as far as, and then I ended up going to the wedding and it just was awesome. I mean, I don't know. I like getting engaged by yourself in something that's like, I also drove straight from, you'll like this, Sean. From Agilus, I drove up to Santa Rosa same night. I got off at 2 p.m. and drove straight
Good
13
Lord.
hours. Dude, it was a trek. That
I
was
I don't think I can do road
solo.
trip unless I don't have a choice about doing road trip. Granted, Solo road trip, super fun. I did 12 hours out to Salt Lake City, super fulfilling. I've got the cooler in the front seat with drinks, whatever I want to do, snacks, just my own music, my own podcast, my own whatever going. I cannot express how important it is to be comfortable by yourself and to have your own alone time, whether it's on a road trip, at a wedding, just on a freaking Tuesday. It is so important to take that time and just decompress and focus on yourself. And it doesn't have to be I'm writing in a journal. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm, planning my whole life out. Just a few minutes. I mean, just like 30 minutes a couple of times a week, just set aside for just yourself. Go for a walk, put some headphones in, listen to the birds, whatever you got to do. Take that time to do it by yourself, and it is so fulfilling and will help
Love
all
it.
of your relationships.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about it that this is a very important aspect. And I'm glad you brought it up, Sean. As always, killing it. Listeners, I hope you've enjoyed what we put out here tonight. I mean, this is something that really means a lot to us. These are building blocks that we have built over a number of years. Again, we're starting at the 5-year mark. So this is our 5-year takeaways. If you spent more time in the industry and you think we missed something that the listeners would find value in, hey, send us a line on our Gmail, and we would love to put that out either social media or in a future episode. From so-and-so, he thought this would be another great tip. Feel free to send us those things. If you're new to the industry, get on board. We hope you found value, and we hope you can implement some of these tools to get you to the next level, to build your 5-year plan, 10-year plan. And we'll see you at the top. This is what we do every single week. We come out with a new episode every Friday, 6 a.m. on the dot. And if you are enjoying what you're hearing, please don't forget to follow us. Leave us some feedback. We really appreciate it. Sean, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for all your input, as always. And listeners, we'll catch you next time. You know where to find us at the How to Hobby Podcast.